We're planning on vacations nowadays. Looks a lot and feel a lot different than back during Jim Crow era. Nowadays, when we plan vacation, people, what we're looking for, making sure we got our cell phone, our luggage, our cash, credit cards, making sure the hotel reservations are already scheduled. We're looking for the best and the fastest route. We try to avoid that wondrous construction that we talked so heavily about last episode. Try to avoid all detours so that we can get to our vacation site safely as possible. Get our family there and get them all comfortable so we can enjoy ourselves, have fun. But when we talk about the Jim Crow era, people, the first thing you worried about when you were going on vacation was preparing to get there safely, and it was a lot different. Of course, you made reservations, but just imagine this, people. Imagine getting to a hotel that you made reservations at, and they tell you they can't find your reservation, that you're not allowed to stay there. Imagine every hotel around you telling you you can't stay there. Imagine the only hotel allowing you and your family to stay there being an old barn turned into a hotel where you can still smell animals. You can still smell animals in the hotel. Imagine traveling with your family and you can't go to restaurants because they're segregating, they don't serve black people, but not knowing what restaurants you could go to. Imagine going on a trip to vacation, your kids pack their swimsuits, they just want to go swimming, but not allowed to swim in the beaches. Imagine going to a pool, and the owner of the pool, because they don't want you there, pouring cleaning supplies inside the pool, bleach inside the pool, acid inside the pool, because they don't want you there, they want you out. Imagine your vacation being completely ruined. Imagine not being able to find a place to stay, not even a barn to sleep in, and having to sleep in your car with your children, your kids, your wife, your husband. But finding yourself in a county that's a sundown county. What's a sundown county, people? Sundown County is a place where black people are not allowed out on the road, not allowed outside when the sun goes down. And if you're caught outside in these counties, you can be hung, you can be beaten, you can be killed. It's dangerous in these counties, but you're not aware of any of this. Imagine not having signs or a guide to tell you about this, that you're going on vacation. It's supposed to be fun, enjoyable. But you and your family, you imagine going on vacation only to experience a complete and utter nightmare. Risking your life, your very life, literally your whole life, your children, your family life, just to enjoy a few days of vacation. Can you imagine it, people? Wouldn't it have been great if there was a guide, some kind of guide created, to tell you which places you can go when you visit Alabama, Mississippi, or even the northern states, New York, Philadelphia, Delaware? Wouldn't it be awesome if you had a guide to tell you when you go to Illinois, what was sundown states, so that you know not to be caught on the side of the road? Wouldn't it be great if it was a guide to tell you what hotels you could stay at, what restaurants you could eat at, what gas stations you could stop at, what nightclubs that you could visit? What beaches could you go and take your family to enjoy the sun, the water? Wouldn't it have been awesome if somebody had the mindset to create a guide to help you enjoy a safe and happy vacation? Isn't that something you would want? Isn't that something you would enjoy? I would appreciate that, wouldn't you? Well, I'm here to tell you people that guide was created. Victor Green, mailman from Harlem, New York, in 1936, created the Green Book, the Negro Motorist. This book was created to guide people on what hotels they could stay, what restaurants they could eat at, what nightclubs can they visit, what beaches, in the Jim Crow era. The Jim Crow era ushered in segregation, not allowing black people not only to go to the same schools, not only not allowed to swim at the same pool or drink out of the same water fountain, but we got to imagine restaurants, hotels, nightclubs, grocery stores. Imagine your life not knowing which one you could do. But see, Victor Green, in that time, thought of coming up with a solution, not only just help his family, but help every black family in America. The Green Book became so necessary that when you traveled, it was a necessity to have with you, such as your cell phone, your credit card, your luggage, your money. It was a necessity to have with you. It could mean the difference between life and death, people. Literally, it could mean the difference between life and death. Victor Green created the Green Book not to get rich, not to get fame. Because truthfully told, creating the Green Book could have got Victor Green killed. It could have got murdered. But still, he put himself above. He put himself above all that. Put others above all that to make sure that you got safe travels. The Green Book was a necessary catalog to tell black people where they could travel, not only in the Deep South, but in the Jim Crow area north. Victor Green, being a mailman, used his connects with other mailmen around the country to find out what restaurants, what hotels, what bars, what nightclubs, what beaches was able for black people, was welcoming for black people to travel to. And he put it on a book and broke it down by state, county by county, city by city. So that when you went on travel, you knew exactly where you could go. Remember a song called Route 66 by Nat King Cole? Nah, that's too old for some of y'all. It's too old for some of y'all. Some of y'all got to talk to your grandparents, your parents, and they might know about it. You ever heard about Route 66? Very important stretch of road that travels across the country. Imagine this, though. The Green Book didn't cover much of Route 66. Why? Because there was not a lot of places you could stay on this legendary stretch of road. This legendary highway. There wasn't many places you could stay, people. It was very dangerous. Even though Jim Crow law and Jim Crow era brought a lot of dangers to black people, even though it made things difficult for us to travel to enjoy our lives, vacations, simple things, it also ushered in something new. Because see, there's something positive even in the negative. Due to Jim Crow laws and the lack of hotels, nightclubs, restaurants, gas stations, movie theaters that we could visit, that we could travel while we were out on vacation, it created opportunity for black people. It created opportunity for us to create our own wealth. So what did we do? When we realized we couldn't stay at these hotels, when there wasn't many hotels that wanted to advertise in the Green Book for black people to stay at, restaurants, bars, gas stations, grocery stores, what did we do? We started creating our own. We started taking our money and buying restaurants, buying hotels, buying motels, buying bars and nightclubs, buying grocery stores, movie theaters, creating a level of wealth. Taking the lemons that Jim Crow law gave us and made lemonade. Creating what was seen as generational wealth for black people. But we'll get to that in a second. We opened up a new way for us. A new avenue. We created a new road. We paved our own road. We created construction to allow us to have safe trips. But a lot of times when we think about the Green Book, we think about what Victor Green did when he created the Green Book, a guide that we all need. When we talk about Jim Crow laws, we don't realize how much of this traveled outside of America. See, because a lot of times, black people, when we went to vacation in Mexico, into other countries like Bahamas, we experienced the same segregation in Jim Crow law stretch where we couldn't go to Mexico and enjoy certain beaches. Couldn't enjoy certain restaurants because we were even segregated there. And people often tell me like, yo, segregation and all this stuff was so long ago. Why do y'all still hold on to this? Why as black people, y'all still hold on to this pain? Why y'all still talk about the suffering? So much has changed. See, now you can go to grocery stores. Now you can go to any restaurant you want to. Now you can travel without the need of the Green Book. Why are y'all still holding on to it? It's because what was printed in the Green Book, what wasn't printed in the Green Book is the horrific stories of families, the experiences that they had when they traveled without the Green Book. When they traveled without this guide. It was horrific stories that still resonate in our minds, our spirits, in our souls. It's the cries we could hear. More the lynching, unnecessary lynching from the family members, the children that had to experience their fathers, their mothers, being turned away from restaurants only for the color of skin, not necessarily understanding. Why do people hate you? Because of color of your skin. It's the hate that was shown. It's so difficult to get over, to get past. But Victor Green was a man who had a vision. He was a visionary. He was a visionary who once said that one day the Green Book will never need to be printed. In fact, in 1948, he stated that the Green Book may never need to be printed again. That one day we won't need the Green Book to travel. We won't need to go on vacations because one day we'll be seen as equals. Victor Green never got to see that day, people. This mailman from Harlem never got to see the day that he would have been free to travel the country without needing the Green Book that he created, without needing a guide, that he would actually be able to go and make a reservation at a hotel and not be charged away because of the color of skin, to be able to sit at a restaurant counter and not turned away because of the color of his skin, to allow his kids to go to school and not be turned away because of the color of skin. You probably wonder, why am I talking about the Green Book? What is so important about what Victor Green did in creating the Green Book? How does that apply to you right now? How does it apply to me? How does it apply to our very lives? Well, we're going to break it down 2 different ways, people. We're going to talk about why the importance of supporting local and black businesses is so important. See, a lot of these destinations and businesses, hotels, nightclubs, grocery stores, movie theaters, black-owned banks don't exist no more that was advertised in the Green Book, that were used on the travels that we had, not only through the Deep South, but to the Jim Crow area north. A lot of these places don't exist no more. You wonder why they don't exist anymore, people? Because when segregation ended and we were allowed to go to restaurants, we didn't see the necessity, the need to support these businesses that supported and loved and was there for us, even when we were turned away from these larger companies. So what happened to these hotels that were advertised in Green Book? What happened to these restaurants, these motels, these nightclubs, these movie theaters, these grocery stores? Well, people, they're not even a blip in history anymore. They're in a line in a book that seemed to be going extinct. We didn't see the importance of celebrating, supporting black-owned businesses. We didn't support them, so what happened? They went under. They were not able to maintain and keep up with larger organizations that had more power, more money, more stature. They failed. They failed not because they didn't understand the aspect of business. It's not because they didn't have quality product. They failed because we failed them. We failed to support the very businesses that support us when nobody else wants us. The very businesses that open their doors to us even when others close their doors. And the moment that others open their doors for us and allow us in, we just abandon these old companies, these banks, these hotels, these grocery stores, these restaurants, these nightclubs. We abandon them to run to the one thing that never respected us, never appreciated us, and never loved us. But isn't that something we do every day, people? Let's talk about our day. Let's talk about us today. We always want what we can't have. I'm going to give you an example. I told you right now, yo, your doctor called you and said, hey, you're not allowed to have candy bars. You're not allowed to have candy bars anymore. You can't eat candy bars. That craving, that desire for a candy bar is going to grow. Even though you didn't never really like candy bars, you never really ate it. The desire grows for it. You yearn for it. The temptation to just grab a candy bar becomes unbearable to a point that the moment the doctor calls back and says, hey, now you're allowed to have candy bars, you abandon that kind bar. They'll know that kind bar, the healthy bar. They'll abandon that knowing even though that it was there for you the whole time you were allowed to have candy bars, it was there for you. Helping you deal with your cravings, your wants, your needs. You abandon that. And you run to that candy bar that never meant good for you, that didn't love you and still don't love you, don't appreciate you. When we look at these businesses that were advertised in Green Book, we can't find many of them laying around. They're not landmarked. We hear the stories about all the negative things happen in sundown counties. We hear about all the lynching, destruction. And we run to these restaurants. We run to these stores. but we don't recognize who was there for us. Who was there for us when no one else was? We won't recognize the guide that was set for us. You ever heard Idlewood? Of course you did. It was a movie made about it. Andre 3000, very famous rapper, even did a movie. Idlewood was a place. I believe it was in California. Like many places in the country, there wasn't a lot of places for us to go on vacation at. There wasn't beaches. We wanted to go on vacation like a normal family. As black people started getting automobiles a little bit before and mostly after World War II, we began traveling more. And having an automobile back then, oh, you was in business now. I mean, that was like buying a new Mercedes. You had finally made it. That was like buying a house. You made it. You got a piece of the American dream. So, of course, you wanted to travel. So in Idlewood, what did a lot of black people did? We needed a vacation destination. Somewhere where we can feel safe. Somewhere where we can feel welcome. So a lot of black people came and bought up land in Idlewood, creating a place where people go swimming. A place where people can stay and enjoy themselves, have fun, and feel safe. Feel safe from the Ku Klux Klan. Feel safe from the racist police officers. Feel safe from all destruction that tries to interrupt our vacation during the Jim Crow era. But once the Jim Crow era ended, once segregation was abolished, like many things in the black community, it just disappeared like smoke. It just disappeared like smoke. The appreciation we had for places like Idlewood, appreciation we had for places where we could stay, dissipated, disappeared. He said, thank you for your service. Now we have to move on to greener pastures, more important places. And we wonder why it's important to support local and black-owned businesses. Why it's so important to support the people is for you. I understand these large organizations, they have the money, they have the stature, they have the ability to offer you things that you desire, that you crave for. But you often don't forget who was there for you. Nobody was. Victor Green created the Green Book as a way of safe passage, safe travel throughout the country and to other countries. He had vision, people. He had vision not to get rich and create generational wealth of creating the Green Book. The Green Book became very popular amongst the black community. It was due to a gas station, and I might demolish his name, please excuse me, I think it was called Esses, E-S-O-S was the name of the gas station, that became very important for the Green Book, the distribution of the Green Book. The Green Book was an important travel manual to assure that we made it safely to our destination. They made sure that our families had a hotel stay at, a restaurant to eat at. That when we went to beaches, we weren't turned away. When we went to pools, we weren't going to get bleach or acid poured into a pool, that we would be able to swim freely. It's very important to mention, as we talk about the importance of celebrating and focusing on local businesses, this. There were a lot of white business owners that went against the wave. That went against the wave of hatred and opened their doors, opened their restaurants, opened their hotels, their grocery stores to black customers. It wasn't popular. In places like Boston, there were restaurants and there were people who opened up their restaurants for black people. It's very important to mention this fact. Because a lot of times we think that everybody's the same. And we look at the other races and look at all white people. Oh, you're all racist, they're all racist, all black people, you're all thugs and goons and all that. But it's not the case. During the Jim Crow era, there were people, white people, who also risked themselves and risked their lives, who opened up restaurants, opened up their bars to service black people, even when it meant that white customers, white patrons decided, you know, we're going to avoid those locations. But you might think that during Jim Crow era, that this Green Book was only for us middle class, lower class people who are looking to travel. This Green Book was also important for entertainers, such as Sammy Davis, Nat King Cole. It was important for entertainers because even entertainers, black entertainers, who often aren't seen as black, as you've seen in Spike Lee Do the Right Thing, when the Sun Side was saying, well, you know, Prince, Michael Jackson, you know, Magic Johnson, they're not black. You know, they're Magic Johnson. That O.J. Simpson's not black, he's O.J. It wasn't like that in the Jim Crow South. See, even entertainers, famous entertainers who white crowds gathered to see, they had to keep the Green Book close by when they traveled. When they traveled on tour, they kept the Green Book close by because it was no different for them. It was no different for them when they traveled through certain counties and certain states. The same rules applied for them. Yeah, on stage, they were celebrated. When they were entertained, they were celebrated. But once they came off stage, they were just another ordinary black person traveling through Jim Crow America. And Jim Crow in the Green Book helped keep them safe, showed them what houses they could stay at, what restaurants they could eat at, what bars that they can visit. This Green Book was very important. See, nowadays, we look at celebrities, especially black celebrities, and they feel like, you know, they don't have to deal with police brutality, and they don't have to deal with this issue because once you reach a certain stature, a certain amount of money, you know, certain things don't exist for you. Certain problems don't exist for you. But once again, we often don't recognize history and how it plays a part in our daily lives on how, yes, you get celebrated on stage. Yes, you get celebrated. On stage, no, you're not black, you're OJ. You're not black, you're Michael Jackson. You're not black, you're Prince. But once you get off stage, just another nigger. And that's just the real. It's the real how America looks, how they see us. Nat King Cole performed a concert in front of an all-white audience because no black audience members were allowed to be at the concert. During his concert, 5 white men rushed the stage and attacked him. Nat King Cole was shooken up from the attack. As the audience cheered him on to come back on stage, he eventually came on and finished the show. But when Nat King Cole left that stadium from performing, not only on stage did he recognize who he was, but when he got off stage, he was reminded exactly who he is. That his fame played no part in changing the fact that his color of skin was, well, color of his skin. Imagine if Victor Green didn't take the time to write the Green Book. Imagine if people didn't take the time to try to create a way to guide you to find happiness, to guide you through life. Not just through traveling and going on vacation, but didn't take the time to really talk to you. To take their time to create and find ways to make your life better. Imagine if no one cared to really talk to you, to help you achieve success, to reach your destination safely, without as much as hurt as possible. That you can enjoy your life, enjoy your vacation. Imagine if no one took the time to create these type of platforms. Imagine if people didn't see the vision, or Victor Green didn't see the possible vision that one day the Green Book would not be necessary, not be a necessity to travel with. Imagine if he didn't see that as a possibility, that he figured that, you know what, we'll always need it. So I won't even put those positive affirmations out here that one day we'll be all equal. Imagine if we all thought the same. Because things are so dark that the light will never come. But on the other side of things, imagine if we learned to appreciate the companies, people who supported us when no one else did. What if we supported black-owned businesses, created generational wealth, created opportunities for businesses that at one point supported only black patriots. We supported them so now that they will still exist, such as the Walmarts, the Targets. What if we supported those? What if we supported local businesses so one day they become the next Amazon? That local grocery store, so maybe one day they'll become the next chain to become the next Whole Foods. What if we appreciated the businesses that are in our community? If we created a new Green Book. Of course, we don't need a Green Book to navigate our travels through America anymore. Because even though we have pockets of America that a certain level of racism from the 1930s still exists, we're a lot more freer now to travel and feel safe when we go out with our family. We're more worried about not forgetting our cell phones than we do our luggage. Not forgetting our credit cards more than we worry about actually bringing a book. A book is not a necessity anymore. a guide to get into our destination is only important when we're talking about GPS. But then we talk about GPSs being incorrect at times, being misleading, taking you off road, taking you off course. I told you my GPS multiple times failed me. Failed me when I was trying to take my kids to the Please Touch Museum. Had me running around in a circle for a half hour before I decided, you know what, I'll just do it without it. My GPS, I was going Christmas shopping, kept trying to take me to somebody's house instead of the store that I was trying to get to. My GPS failed me multiple times, but see, certain things don't fail you. Your instincts. Your instincts. Knowing certain places and certain people and certain things that will be there for you, that will support you. It's important to give back to those. Give back to those and remember those. It's important to remember Victor Green. Victor Green, the Green Book, should not be a figment of history that's not taught in schools. It's not taught to your children. Not recognized, not even during Black History Month. The importance of the Green Book is so big. It's so big because it actually showed us that we as Black people, we can create generational wealth. But can we? Nowadays, see, I question that. I know we're running out of time, so I'll make this quick. I started to question that because when I did the Black Wall Street movement episode, one of the things I said, I was like, yo, we built a whole community back then. You know, why can't we build a new Black Wall Street? Then, as I was preparing for this episode, as I was doing my research on this episode, one thing stood out to me. And I had a debate and conversation with myself. Don't judge me, people. I'm not crazy. You all talk to each other. Don't judge me, okay? I had a conversation with myself, and I said, self, why as Black people we can't create generational wealth? See, we keep trying to inherit a job to our children, but no matter how well I do at my job, no matter how much my manager likes me at my job, I cannot give my job to my children. They cannot inherit my job, self. So why don't we create generational wealth like they did in Black Wall Street, like they did with some of the businesses and organizations that were advertised in the Green Book? Why we can't create that, self? What is wrong with us, self? You know what myself said as I got deeper into my research? Well, Alan, the issue is it was easier to create that type of wealth during the Black Wall Street time, during segregation time, because, see, Black people had to keep their own money in their own community. We were not allowed to go into a white community. We're not allowed to shop in the Asian community. We're not allowed to shop at other stores, so we were limited of where we could spend our money at, what we could do. The reality is, segregation did more to hurt us than it did help us. I never thought I'd say that, but it did. Because it not only segregated, it relieved us segregating ourselves, but segregated our money to the point now that we give our money to organizations and people who don't truly support us. Of course, Amazon talked about Black Lives Matter movement, and probably your job made a whole thing about Black Lives Matter movement, but let me ask you one quick question before we run out of time. How many times have you heard anything recently about it? How many commercials you've seen about the Black Lives Matter movement? How much change have you seen organizations make in regards to that? How much money have they put into supporting your very way of life, understanding you, your culture, where you come from, where you're trying to go? How much money and effort they put into creating generational wealth back in the Black community? I told y'all, people, this is all going somewhere. It's all going somewhere, people. This is going to the end of the year. It's leading to something. See, in Detroit, automobiles started coming up, and there was automobiles being built in Detroit. They also opened it up, and the automobile companies opened it up to market through churches to bring Black people up to Detroit to be able to help make automobiles, creating wealth for the Black community, helping us be able to buy cars, helping us to be able to achieve the American dream. Detroit opened its doors, opened its minds up. It welcomed us with open arms and helped us create wealth, helped us put a car in our driveway, food on our table. Let me ask you a question. Have you been to Detroit lately? Have you seen how it looks? Abandoned buildings, houses being sold for dirt cheap. It's funny how, the same people or same things that support us, we abandon them or it once we don't need it anymore. I know we started this episode talking about Victor Green in the Green Book, and all this goes cohesiveness is cohesive with the Green Book and the discovery and the building of the Green Book, because see, all this was important. All this was cataloged in the Green Book. There were some companies, some organizations that didn't want to advertise in the Green Book because they didn't want your service. Those companies that refuse to be nameless are the same companies right now taking your dollars. I promise you a smile at every single register. They didn't appreciate your dollar before, but they're doing sure we'll take it now, even though they don't understand you or recognize their history. Until America truly recognizes history and the pain that it has caused in the black community, then it's going to be very difficult for us to truly heal, to move on, to understand who we are, what we are as black people, until we recognize how we don't only mistreat or mistreated by America, but we mistreat ourselves and those who have and still do support us. Support local businesses. Support black-owned businesses. Help that person right now become the next Amazon, the next Google, the next Disney, the next Bill Gates. Even though you can't see a person's vision, such as Victor Green's vision, when he created the Green Book and said that it may not be no longer needed, even though you can't see it, it don't mean your dreams, our dreams, of a better America, better future, a brighter future for us and our children are that far away. I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Past and Present Podcast. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, Alan the Great on YouTube. Share this video with all your friends. You can hit me up, Facebook, Past Present, Instagram, Alan the Great. All those good things. Like I said, these episodes are going somewhere. It's preparing for the end of the year, so you don't want to miss their episodes, so you're not out the loop of what's going on. So until next time, I see you people. I only got one thing left to say, y'all. Stay tuned. Peace.